The Tokyo Poetry Journal, volume number 15, which I just got in the mail yesterday. Thought I'd have a look at it with you. Lead editor Zoria Petkoska. Advisory board Jerome Rothenberg. I think he passed away a while ago, so. But there's people from all over involved in it. Same with the poets. They're from all over the place, all over the world. It's kind of a remarkably international magazine. It starts out with something by Takahiro Sawamura. Sawamura uses both digital and analog tools, but perhaps most inventively and creatively uses Microsoft Excel for most of his works. He considers Excel a contemporary typewriter to some extent. He also views limitation as an opportunity for creativity. So regardless whether the software is suitable or not, a poet can find a poetic use for it. I've seen fonts like this where each key that you press results in a barcode, which is, I presume, what is going on here. Maya Ang from Hong Kong. So much of it is in English. Smogli Shun. Shun's young comedian poems play on the well-known Osaka dialect, which is the dialect of the majority of Japanese comedians. The phrase used here is Nandayanan, which loosely translates to, "Are you kidding me? The spider is dead." Young comedian, Nandayanan. Okay. Vladimir Bilik, I know Vladimir. He's living in Ukraine. It says Vladimir Bilik is a poet from Ukraine. He's doing art stuff when not going back and forth to the bomb shelter. So here we have a poem and the translation. Jane Joritz Nakagawa lives in Hamamatsu, Japan. Anli Chang, based in Tokyo. Eliza Dune Daiza, writer and graphic designer. Emigrated from Burma to Australia. Christopher Palmer, based in Canberra, Australia. Ilias Sagas is a Greek poet. Jessica Rodart, Mexico City. Greg Snaz. Currently lives in Greg Snaz. Okay. Frank Singleton, Ohio. Shenzhen Zhao, Chinese University of Hong Kong, Goldsmiths University of London. Peter Zaranowski, I know Peter Zaranowski, lives in Poland. And I've worked with Peter on various projects. Interesting artist. And I think from here, next few pages, I think, though it doesn't say, I think this is by the writer, the editor, Zoria Petkoska. That's, yeah, notes from the editor. That's where I think that. Interesting material. Takahiro Sawamura. I can feel as I run my finger over it, I can feel the print. Donna Mayura, I've seen her work before. She's a well-known visual poet. Lives in Connecticut in the USA. Juan Angel Italiano, born in Montevideo, based in Uruguay. Michael Hurtado, I know some of his work. Mathematician, technologist, new media artist, and poet. Professor in the Department of Architecture, Chile. Herman Bartholin spent his formative years in London, Ontario. Okay, a Canadian poet that I've never heard of. Interesting to see this work. Syl-J Rhee, artist and founder of Mellum Press, holds an MA from University of the Arts, London. Okay. Victoria Bogdanova, poet and practicing architect and currently postdoctoral researcher in Helsinki. Mitch Alcantara, born in the Philippines. Chris Mosdell, British, based in Tokyo, Kyoto, and New York. Okay, Chris gets around. That's a neat piece. Anna Jovanovska, Macedonian artist based in Tokyo. That's an interesting piece. Cinzia Farina, Italian artist, art history teacher, and journalist. Stephen Nelson, Scottish writer and visual poet. Luke Fearens, I've seen Luke Fearens' work many times. Visual poet based in Belgium. Since 1984, he's been collaborating internationally with visual artists, poets, and activists, working on independent projects such as mail art and visual poetry. Yeah. Federico Federici, conceptual artist working in the fields of writing, video art, installations, and physics. Okay. Soline Balesta and Lynn Sioki, French multidisciplinary artist based in Tokyo. That's Soline Balesta and Lynn Sioki, born in Baoding, China, graduated from the Central Academy of Fine Arts in Beijing. Simon Kaledjiev and Zoria Petkoska-K. So Zoria Petkoska-K is the main editor of the magazine. And they have a book out, I think, called Dystokyo, Play on dystopia. Simon Kalagiev, Tokyo-based artist. Eric Selland, American poet and translator living in Tokyo. This is the Essays and Experiments section. The Oblot Initiative. The micro/mega/metropolis medium is the message. Okay, so I believe this is seen through a microscope. So one of the things that this group has done is create this poetry that you view through a microscope. And there's the microscope. So they've created the product, PoeMicro. They say the first design product grew from a conversation with Tanikawa about poetry and media and led to the idea of a book of microscopic poetry on glass. Tanikawa penned 5 poems aimed at 10-year age brackets from 5 to 45 years old to create an experience that all ages could share. All poems were originals not to be published outside of the medium of glass. In this case, glass slides with poetry only visible through the poetry microscope, with microorganisms preserved all around the words. And of course, in order for readers to view the poetry, the Oblot team developed a specially branded microscope sold together with the poetry slides. So an interesting look at these poetic projects developed by a group of poets and artists and designers. So there's that one. There's this Oblot Poetry. I guess this is the poetry. Programs. Oblot and the city. So an interesting. I look forward to reading this whole thing. I've just looked at a little bit of it so far. And then finally, this is my project, Sea of Poe. So they've got a thing that I wrote about Sea of Poe, and then a shot of Hideko Kono's work from Sea of Poe. Don't know whether you've seen Sea of Poe, but this is the default poem that comes up. This is the default work that comes up when you view Sea of Poe. Hideko Kono survived Hiroshima, and she wrote 66 tanka, which is this, it's like sort of like a haiku, a Japanese poetic form. She wrote these 66 tanka very soon after the bomb, is bearing witness to this. And she survived. Her very young daughter, who was a year old at the time, survived. Her husband died and her son died from the bomb, but her daughter, who survived and was 1 year old at the time, she's a friend of mine, Yumi Kono, along with another friend of mine, Ariel O'Sullivan. They translated the tankas that Hideko wrote, and they've got a book of it that's come out about a year ago. And they gave me 9 of the tankas for Sea of Poe, this being one of them. There's the Japanese version, and then a transliteration, and then an English version. So we see English and Japanese here. And so then they end the magazine with this shot, which is 2 shots from Sea of Poe, of Hideko's work in Sea of Poe. And that's it. Visual/visionary poetry, volume 15 of the Tokyo Poetry Journal.